third floor is insane, much wilder than the second, yet Jae-won was only in there for 2 days. So what's the real number? Turns out it's 1,000 years. He probably made more swings in there than breaths outside. Chung-hyo is floored by the answer, but he's not about to shower Jae-won with praise. To him, our boy is still just that same punk kid with a fancy title, yet deep down it throws him off. This guy lived through a millennium of hell and doesn't even look satisfied. Who is he really? Then Jae-won suddenly stands up, announcing that it's time to head for the Resurrection Palace, the one place that might finally offer a real challenge. Chung-hyo suggests waiting until Gorgon has more awakened barracks like Kaiman, but our protagonist has already run the scenarios in his head. He knows the monarchs aren't just waiting for new awakeners. Sit around and they'll strike first. The plan is simple: make a move before the enemy expects it. He doesn't want to raise the place, just grab the key pieces in the Resurrection Palace. Chung-hyo gets it. The real target is the Mayor's Treasure, an artifact that blurs the line between the living and the dead. And then there's the Narrow Gate, a passage into chaos while alive. If they destroy it, the monarchs lose their monopoly. Without hesitation, Jae-won and Chung-hyo make for Manticore, where the path to the Resurrection Palace begins. Chung-hyo knows this won't be easy. They're walking straight into a trap set up for Jae-won, but that's just how it is. And our boy? He walks right up to the gate, throws it open without blinking, and says what he always does. If it comes to that, if chaos comes crashing down, he'll do what he's always done: burn through it. Jae-won charges into Manticore Fortress with zero plans. No sneaking, just full send. Chung-hyo suggests they could have slipped in quietly through the alley, but our boy's set on doing this loud. They'll need all their strength for what's coming, and Manticore isn't even the final boss. He unleashes his aura, draws Doc Bull, and goes feral, thrusting, swinging, and slashing like a storm. Meanwhile, Lim Jin-hong watches the chaos unfold on his holographic screen. Every rumor about Jae-won? All true. With reports of the Northern Forbidden Heaven base and the Path of Waves, everything finally clicks for him. If only he'd gotten that highlight reel a bit earlier. The irony isn't lost. He's supposed to hunt down this so-called product for the Pitch Darkness Lord, and now here it is, stomping right up to his front door, loud as hell. A female voice cuts in, clearly thrilled to see the battlefield being wiped clean. She's not curious anymore about why the Pitch Darkness Lord wants this product. This is no routine logistics run. Siren dances with excitement as Doc Bull flashes across the screen, grinning wildly. Lim Jin-hong tells her to watch her language, not even pretending to be impressed. She drops onto the throne beside him like it's her personal couch. He's uptight about Murim etiquette and protocol, while she couldn't care less. She's here for the spectacle. Our protagonist is out there erasing people one by one, each dropped with a single blow. Listening to her commentary grates on Lim Jin-hong's nerves, but she didn't show up just to annoy. She came to deliver news. The Jade Mask Golden Monarch, Bang Sheonil, appeared in chaos. He already knew Bang had been stirring up Garuda and Dryad fortresses, trying to sway the fortress masters, and helped wipe out the undead they'd sent there. Brief flashes show the carnage left in his wake, twisted remains of those abominations. What gets under Lim Jin-hong's skin most is how these monarchs treat the treaty to stay out of chaos like a joke. First the Pitch Darkness Monarch, now the Steel Monarch, just another proxy war, a game. It's true, but Siren isn't here for gossip. She brings the real bombshell. Bang Sheonil got himself killed. Lim Jin-hong is stunned, even more so when he finds out it wasn't a monarch or massive army. It was just a clan leader who did it. In his mind, not even all the clan leaders together could have pulled that off. But Jae-won didn't assemble pushovers. He built a force. The Southern Sea Clan leader alone proves it. This isn't about clever tactics. These guys are diving straight into madness. Killing the Steel Monarch's Bang Sheonil? That cocky dog? Brave? Not really. Suicidal. A move like that doesn't go unnoticed. The monarchs all watch each other like hawks in the almighty land. One death and the whole balance shifts. Kaiman just kicked the hornet's nest. Before Lim Jin-hong can spiral too far, Siren snaps him back. Jae-hwan's coming, so what's the play? He barely blinks. He's smug. The plan's simple. Send the demon warriors. Siren's own handcrafted nightmares. If Jae-won wants a dramatic entrance, they'll give him a hell of a welcome. Jae-won walks with Chung-hyo, roasting him for wondering how a bunch of nobodies wound up steering the Forbidden Heavens world domination plot. Our boy admits he has a point. Then the bandaged figures appear. Just like those undead from the previous Fortress Master's ceremony, they crawl out of the darkness, the nightmare only beginning. The squad is surrounded. Evil energy chokes the air. Whatever these things once were, they're now walking corpses with a pulse. One voice cuts through the mess, delighted as if he spotted a celebrity crush. He calls Jae-won the Pathfinder. Word travels fast. A bandaged figure steps forward, mouth torn to the ear, half his face covered, voice grating. Chung-hyo freezes when the creature calls him by his old divine healer title. How does this monster know that? Then it hits him. This is Heinz, once a guard at the Southern Gorgon Fortress. He used to tend the wounded, collect demon horns, stay loyal for a century. That boy now stands twisted beyond recognition, but Chung-hyo remembers the grateful, righteous guard he used to be. He stumbles over his words, begging Heinz to return to Gorgon and leave this mess behind. Heinz doesn't budge. Then he snaps. Not with anger, but with memory. 100 years ago, the Crimson Masaha clan stormed the southern checkpoint. Peace was shattered in a heartbeat. Blood covered everything. 50 guards, including the inspector, were slaughtered. Heinz was the only survivor, wounded and alone. Chung-hyo, of course, had been absent for the whole massacre. By the time he arrived, Heinz didn't scream. He begged to be trained, to become stronger, to stop it from ever happening again. Chung-hyo just gave him the big-picture speech. Injustice happens sometimes. He offered sympathy, but nothing more. Heinz buried his grief the only way he could, through pain and persistence. He bled, broke, rebuilt. Justice died somewhere along the way. He tears off his mask. Beneath it is bone, no second eye, a skeletal horror. Chung-hyo freezes. The kind second-stage adapter he once knew is gone. Standing before him now is the vice-clan leader of the Forbidden Heaven clan. Catching up is over. It's time to fight. Heinz grabs his wicked sword, offhandedly mentioning he's heard the Gorgon Fortress Master only ever goes for thrusts. He sounds almost eager. In seconds, he's got Balkan's 8 fangs aligned, turning his blade's aura into a fanged monster manifestation. He follows up with his signature move, Carotid Sever, lunging in with everything he's got. But Jaewon just tears through the wild, swirling aura like it's nothing. Boom! That beastly energy shatters with a single thrust. Heinz is stunned, unable to comprehend what just happened. One of his followers, panicking, suggests they take our protagonist down together. It's desperate, but it beats getting destroyed one by one. Heinz gives the order, and suddenly it's a full surround. Little do they know, this is our boy's comfort zone. His eyes begin to glow as if possessed. Meanwhile, Lim Jin-hong is losing it back at court, unable to believe the dead demon warriors are getting torn apart like background extras. It's terrifying. He knows the only way they can take Jaewon down is if he himself, someone almost as strong as the monarchs, joins the field. Because sure, our protagonist is a powerhouse, but if they pile on hard enough, even he might fall. But there's a catch. Jaewon is still the chosen product of the pitch-black monarch. Hitting him too hard is like picking a fight with fate. If they mess up, it won't just be a lost fight, it'll blow up everything from the roots up. Lim Jin-hong yells for Siren, acting like she owes him, but she's so not in the mood. This guy wants more? She's the one who figured out the Spirit Stone, gave him the Black Cloud boost, and built the undead demon warrior squad from scratch. Now he's asking for more? She doesn't even bother replying. She grabs his face, fingers clamped across both cheeks, ready to seal a deal whether he likes it or not. On the battlefield, Jaewon is thrusting through the demon army, moving at full tilt with clean surgical strikes that are almost too fast to follow. Heinz's hatred grows. He can't stand that this 60-year-old kid has achieved more in a fraction of the time compared to his own 2 centuries. The guy turns into a walking horror show. Whatever monster act he had before looks tame now. Transformation erupts. Tentacles burst from his mouth, eyes blaze with hellfire, and it's clear that earlier metamorphosis speech was pure nonsense. Heinz is still lost in 100 years of rage and lets it push him over the edge. He manifests an evil spear staff and, without warning, charges at the occupied fortress master. Our boy dodges the savage spear attack that cracks the ground, causing even Heinz's own henchmen to flinch. Heinz tries to launch into another hard work and new morals speech, but Jaewon ends it right there. No-nonsense thrust time. His subordinates can only watch as their vice-clan leader's body is ruined, half gone in a single strike. And in Jaewon's mind, he's just wondering why the enemies of chaos are always the same kind of meathead. The others are stunned, their 9th-stage vice-clan leader obliterated just like that. Our protagonist is out of patience. He's had enough of these for-the-cause speeches. Bam! Another clean stab, slicing straight through the darkness and lighting up the battlefield. For the vice-clan leader, it's Moon Eye World time. He's forced into a reality check. These fools thinking pain makes them justified get a brutal dose of perspective. Above, that massive eye symbol unveils the true meaning of hell to Heinz. Even he, who never bowed to anything, can't ignore the suffering the awakened Jaewon endures. This is the unique world of an awakener, as it appears to those who refuse to submit. The giant eye watching everything is no exaggeration. Is this what our boy faces every day? Heinz wonders if staying righteous would have meant treading this same path. His final recognition is different. He sees Jaewon as a monster, the toughest breed around. As the rest of Heinz's body collapses, reality snaps back. All the demon army goons look on in terror. With that last single thrust, he cut the history of Manticore in 2. Chung-hyo thinks this move shouldn't be called a strong thrust anymore. It deserves to be called the World Thrust. Regardless, our hero's got no interest in killing these guys. He's got his eyes set on the Resurrection Palace now. Chung-hyo, always the wise man, observes that everything Jaewon touched was split cleanly in half, each piece stained by a hint of his unique world. How did he do it? Our boy just brushes it off, calls it another thrust. Cheonghyo suspects he might be close to surpassing the self-surrender stage of awakening. Suddenly, both sense the spiritual pressure of a lieutenant general rank monarch nearby. Before the conversation can go anywhere, the space-time around our heroes starts warping. The experienced one should know what's happening, but he's a bit slow catching on. He realizes it's a transcendent rank space teleportation skill, RAP, only as a cutie appears. It's Siren. She's impressed that whatever's left of the undead demon army actually fears Jae-won. He wants to know who this piece of work is. Siren, half offended and half amused, wonders if he lives under a rock. Doesn't he even watch this week's Top 10 or Tower of Tower specials? How can he not know Siren? Turns out she's a mare. Cheonghyo, red-faced, mutters that every man in chaos knows this woman. Even though she looks young, she calls him an old child with good eyes. She scolds them for not calling a mare by the proper race name. At least that's the standard. She teases him with his hat before introducing herself as Siren Armeld. Jae-won realizes she's the Dream Demon mare leading the Forbidden Heaven clan uprising. The Fortress Master could ask plenty, but he's got bigger priorities and tries to excuse himself. Siren, however, has orders. She's here to derail him and bring his advance to a halt. Jae-won grips his sword, fully resolved, but Siren isn't ready to let this devolve into a bloodbath. A flicker of panic flashes across her face as she tries to outmaneuver him, offering him a chance to become her product instead. It's a low move, breaking her words so quickly, but she clearly doesn't care about a lost cause. The man who asked her to stop him, Lim Jin-hong, is already dying, if not dead, caught in the fallout from that manticore-splitting thrust. Jin-hong sits slumped on his ruined throne, the court collapsed around him. Siren tells Jae-won that if he agrees to join her, she'll conveniently forget her promise. But before she can finish, his thrust almost takes her out. She dodges at the last second. Yet, our protagonist isn't charging in recklessly. He might seem like someone who doesn't listen, but his instincts are tuned in. He senses it now. Her spiritual pressure is wild, far more intense than when she was hiding before. This girl isn't some regular punk. He's starting to think she's actually Major General level. Her whole strategy is to talk sense into him, warning that if the pitch darkness monarchs are already hunting, he's in real trouble. If he just agrees to become her product, she'll pull strings, hide him away, and keep him safe. But our boy doesn't waste a thought on her offer or threats. She gets the message and snaps her fingers. Instantly, massive serpent monsters appear, summoned by classic mare authority magic. As the serpents lurch forward, Siren makes clear her offer still stands if he changes his mind. But before she can gloat, her summons get obliterated almost as soon as they appear. Cheonghyo warns that this can't continue. They need a new tactic. The mare has to go first. Our protagonist doesn't wait. He slams his sword into the ground, kicking up a sandstorm and vanishing into the rubble. Siren gives him credit, calling it clever, but says it won't last. Except he's not here to stall, he's here to finish this. While she watches from her floating screen, he's already making his way toward her throne. She mutters that he's sharper than she thought. Before she can gloat further, reality catches up. He's out of the fog. Whatever tricks she planned, he's already flipped the script. In a blink, he's got her by the neck, asking if she wants to keep pushing it, because he can end this right now. Instead of panicking, he considers options. She might help them reach the abyss or reveal something about Mulak, the first mare, perched at the top of the illusion tree. He offers to take her back to Gorgon, but she just laughs in his face. In seconds, she slips free of his grasp, dropping to the ground, shaking her head as if she almost won and still lost. The swordsman is left dangling in the air, trying to figure out how she got so far away. Spoiler, she didn't. Suddenly, her hand appears behind him, grabbing him like a mischievous ghost, and she hugs him from behind, dragging him into the 8 gates of hell. Judging by his reaction, this isn't his first time with Hell's Gates, but the one he'd seen before? That was nothing, just a knockoff. This is the real deal, no illusions, no filters. The whole 8 gates of hell is mare-level territory, probably one of Mulak's creations. Now, we get a montage of our boy blitzing through each gate as if it's an everyday task. 4th gate, Black Chain Hell, done. 6th gate, Frost Hell, done. He slices through each one like a speedrun. Siren watches, visibly rattled. She knew he was skilled, but not this kind of hell-breaking monster. She blurts out, asking if he's even human anymore. And Jae-won? Calm as ever. He tells her to bring out every card she's got so they can end this. But this horror ride isn't over yet. Next up, a gate crawling with arms opens, revealing a massacre built from his own memories. Blood-soaked visions heavy with guilt and trauma. Siren makes it clear, no one has ever made it past the 7th gate. Even with all his fire, our protagonist is staring down the hardest trial of his life. Then, out of nowhere, a vision hits. Himself, younger, staring back and demanding to know who he really is. In an instant, he's plunged deep into a psychological nightmare, more dangerous than anything he's faced so far. Our boy finds himself dead center in a psychological circus, face to face with an army of himself, each pulled from a different era of his wrecked timeline. There's the young version, wide-eyed and raw. The soldier scarred and cold. One fresh out of the tower arc, blood still in his stare. And they're all talking. Not glitchy illusions, not puppets. These are fully aware, fully him. He knows what this place behind the seventh gate is meant to do, shatter the mind before it breaks the body. So he draws his sword without a flicker of hesitation. It's game time, but it isn't the faces that cut deepest. It's how these versions think exactly like he does. They move like him, size him up with the same ruthless precision. This isn't just a boss fight, it's self-destruction on repeat. Outdated or not, every last one still fights with his lethal edge. Even so, instinct takes over. The first strike needs to be his, no hesitation. Most don't have the finesse he's earned lately. They thrust and swing, but they're missing the edge. He starts taking them down, quick and clean, avoiding their eyes. Then, smoke creeps in, thick and familiar. He turns, expecting another killer clone, and sees himself again, from those tower days, haunted, silent. But this one doesn't attack. He just pleads, tells our protagonist to stop. The smoke curls tighter. It doesn't feel like illusion. The stink of old wounds, of memories that should have stayed buried, is suffocatingly real. He swings anyway and cuts the figure down, but as it falls, he knows where the smoke is coming from. It's one of those pioneering memories, the kind that chokes him. Nearly all his memories are soaked in violence, but this one stands apart as a paradigm shift. In it, a man enters a blood-splattered room, tears streaking his scarred face as he faces the then-Corporal Jae-won. He apologizes, voice broken, then raises his rifle under his own jaw and pulls the trigger. Before dying, he says if our protagonist were in his place, he'd understand. The younger Jae-won screams, not numb yet to horror. That man had been his counsel and successor, harassed relentlessly until the night he shot every superior who tormented him. Jae-won was the only one he spared, so the man spent just 15 days in detention. His final statement, Jae-won never participated in the abuse. That was probably when our hero first began to hate the system. Long before he entered a world of skills and screens, he'd already lived inside a broken order, one that hid, devoured, and suppressed its own people. Chaos was only different because it didn't pretend. He's reaching his limit. Every swing, every version of himself he cuts down, is another step into a psychological minefield. It doesn't matter who stands before him, a grizzled veteran, a teenager, even a child. Each demands the same question. Who are you? With every answer left unspoken, something inside cracks. Siren just stands there, watching like it's the best entertainment she's had in centuries, practically craving popcorn. She recalls how those awakened always complain about the self-surrender stage being a horror show. Letting go of who you were and becoming someone new isn't supposed to be easy. For awakeners, it's even worse, since they're hyper-aware, scarred by too much life and too many memories. It's soul-crushing. Chung-hyo keeps trying to snap him out, yelling, shaking, but our protagonist doesn't respond. Even Mary's, dream demons, have ended themselves in this place, unable to bear it. And Jae-won is only human, forcing his way through torment made for something far beyond. This isn't just about killing himself over and over. It's about watching every memory dissolve, until nothing is left to prove he ever existed. In a life like his, forgetting is inevitable. The echoes keep coming, versions of him screaming, demanding, "Who are you?" Eventually, the question doesn't just echo, it claws. His senses go dead, body numb, eyes shut, mind dissolving into emptiness. As darkness is about to swallow him, he remembers, Kaiman awakening. Chung-hyo's voice returns, reminding him awakening isn't just a power-up. It's peeling the world open to see what actually holds it together. Values, particles, data no human could ever grasp. At the heart of it, self-surrender. It sounds noble, but it's a hidden trap. Neglect. After enough horrors and reliving all those memories, your mind starts to shut down. You stop noticing the pain. He spirals into that void where nothing matters. The older versions of himself look hollow, burnt out, no spark left. But then he says it quietly with certainty. It's okay to not be okay. And in that instant, the blankness breaks. Overhead, a sky erupts into a meteor shower of memories. Old Earth days, Yoon Hwan, Imal Grotesque, every tiny fragment of his past streaking by like a living cosmos. It's almost too much. The question remains, who is Jae-won really? He doesn't know. How could he, after 2,000 years of struggle and scars? Every pain, every bond, every scar is part of him. He's the whole mess, nothing left out. In front of him, all those points of light begin connecting, weaving a bright lattice that feels alive. Then something real shifts. His vision clears. The seventh gate crumbles, dissolving as if it waited for this moment. Siren can only stare, silent. No one's ever made it this far, especially not like this. Our boy's eyes are clear, unblinking. The mare is speechless. In 2,000 years, she's never seen anything like it. Then the gate shatters, falling away in shards of light. Jae-won stands, calm and steady, more alive than ever. He doesn't bother naming the moment. He's ready to break through the 8th gate and end it for good. Our boy charges for the 8th gate, and the moment he makes contact, the whole thing lights up like he's tripped a divine booby trap. Suddenly it swings open, and what greets him isn't some divine treasure, it's engravings. Carved messages cover the place like ancient graffiti. He quickly deciphers the cryptic scrawl, realizing it's a personal story. Jaewon's no rookie. He's seen this sort of messaging scattered in other trials. But this one? It hits different. It screams history. This is the exclusive sob story of Mulak Armeld himself, the dream demon Mare who led the first Abyss expedition. That name alone puts our protagonist on alert. Cut to Manticore Fortress, where things aren't looking too bright either. Chung-hyo is baffled, unable to figure out why both Siren and our boy are still passed out. All he can do is guess. Maybe she has to wake up first for the illusion to break. But honestly, who knows anymore? Suddenly, things get even worse as he realizes the Resurrection Palace fanatics have arrived. A voice starts barking orders. It's Samyung Garang, the 11th stage adapter and hidden scent monarch. If that monster finds him, Cheong-hyo's as good as dead. He quickly drags Jaewon and Siren into a blind spot. One of the 9th region's top generals has shown up. The troops notice Garang falling silent, then calmly praising them for holding the area for the monarchs. But a moment later, he thrusts his hand, crushing a fleeing rodent with a single blow. Fear ripples through the ranks as he commands them to capture whoever's hiding below, almost certainly our boy. Moments later, old man Chung-hyo is totally losing it because, guess what? Siren is now conscious. The 7th gate must have been her Dreamflix subscription limit. Time to upgrade to premium. Still, he's fuming while she lounges, claiming she just saved their skins. What about him? Hiding their comatose bodies with that lunatic around. They agree it's mutual benefit, and right now, the only strategy is to get to Gorgon Fortress, the safest option left. Siren plays at surrender, but in truth she couldn't care less about strategy. All she wants now is unfinished business with Jaewon. Meanwhile, Chung-hyo deserves a round of applause. He might not have predicted every twist, but he stayed sharp. He already sent a messenger eagle to Gorgon, meaning the awakened warriors have direct orders from the fortress master. Carpe Diem gets the green light to move toward Manticore, carrying the clear message. Manticore's fallen. Don't waste time. Take the Resurrection Palace down. Bury it if needed. Everyone's fired up. The palace is about to become a cautionary tale. Leaders like Kainan and Shin Muguk rally the charge. It's finally time for liberation. And this isn't just any army. 300 awakened powerhouses are ready to go, with the Savant clan head, Jaegel Mayun, fully locked in. But as soon as they arrive, it's clear it won't be a walk in the park. Samyung Garang is already waiting, cool as ever, tossing an insult their way. He mocks them for being so overambitious, assuming they could stand a chance. They should have just stayed loyal to the status quo, safe in their fortress. What happens next is brutal. A single strike from Garang creates a shockwave, hurling much of the army back. The mood shifts. This guy is on another level. Garang calmly tells them to retreat or suffer worse. But the cavalry refuses. Kang Hwand, Yoon Yang, and the frontliners stand their ground, determined to fight. Some argue they should target the monarch first. Bold, but reckless. Then another monster-level thrust punch lands, spreading disbelief through Carpe Diem's ranks. These monarchs aren't just legends, they're terrifying. Meanwhile, the so-called elite army from the Resurrection Palace? Not even close to what our crew imagined. Our heroes realize this is a losing battle and decide to retreat as Garang launches another earth-shattering fist thrust. 10 days pass, and even with a stacked lineup, Sir Carlton Javier, now a 3rd stage awakened beast, plus the entire 9th Squadron led by the Limitless clan's head, half the army is wiped out. Just like that. Jürgen Schiever's face back in Gorgon says it all. Pure stress, aging 5 years and 5 seconds. They lost 5 3rd stage awakened fighters in that mess. But the worst part? The Resurrection Army has already reached Gorgon Fortress. If they so much as consider the palace's peace offer, it means surrendering not just the entire Artisan Tower, but also the fortress master Jaewon. Stakes have never been higher. Isa Landcroft sits silent in the inner fortress meeting, making it clear they're out of options. Kaiman reminds everyone that the master had warned them about these kinds of shenanigans. Then Isa proposes something no one expected. If cornered, maybe they'll have to seek out Heoyu, Lord of Steel. Everyone knows the Pitch Darkness Lord is stirring trouble, and maybe that chaos could actually help. The Resurrection Squad is crawling in from the 9th region, and Heoyu's got a massive grudge against the guy who broke the treaty. So Isa figures, maybe it's time to use that rage. But Jurgen objects, pointing out the obvious. They killed Bang Shae O'Neill. Kaiman executed the Jade Mask Golden Monarch just days ago. That's not something anyone can ignore. Then again, with monarchs, death doesn't always stick. If someone dies in chaos after passing the narrow gate, they can respawn in their original body back in the Almighty Land. Kaiman concedes it's an option but draws a hard line. No help from those Almighty Land jerks. He wants Isa to be clear. Chaos has to defend chaos. There's no shortcut. Meanwhile, our protagonist is still deep in his epic slumber, while Siren, ever the watchful mare, keeps her eyes locked on him like a silent guardian. Someone really ought to keep quiet around the patient, but to be fair, the tension is thick enough to cut. They've spent days trying to wake Jaewon, yet nothing works. Chung-hyo is losing his mind, while Siren just sits back, doing nothing. He demands to know what she did to him and when she thinks he'll wake up. She brushes him off, telling him to be useful if he's so desperate. Really, Siren? 10 days of her spells and still no progress. And why is she even sticking around? He always figured she was loyal to the Pitch Darkness Lord. But she's over that now. She's seen something that changed everything. Our protagonist might actually break through the 8 gates of hell. No small feat since those gates were designed for mares, not humans. Chonghyo doubts the gates will pose any real challenge for Jaewon, but that hope is all they've got. Siren mentions she taught the skill to the Savant clan, thinking anyone could use it. Few realize just how rare it is to clear the gates. Even in the rare cases when humans tried, it was always humans who cast the gates, not mares. They just aren't made for this kind of ordeal. But Jaewon is different. He broke the 7th gate like it was nothing, and now he's out facing the 8th alone. In context, anyone who survives the 8th gets some serious cosmic spoils. Clearing it should earn someone the title King of Freaking Chaos. Yet the reward turns out to be some raggedy legacy from her godfather, Mulak. Chonghyo barely has time to make sense of how insane that is before, boom, our boy wakes up, looking anything but fresh. His face still wears the marks of hell. He gets up, silently catches up on everything, and heads straight for the inner fortress meeting, even though the room is thick with people ready to offer him up to stop the Resurrection Palace's power grab at Gorgon Fortress. Chonghyo tries to stop him, knowing the fortress master is worth more than any treaty, but Jaewon just strides past, not even glancing back. Ultimate disrespect, but whatever. The doors to the inner chamber slam open. Jaewon walks in, Siren and Chonghyo following behind. Kang Hwang, Kaiman, and Jurgen Sheever light up. Isa Landcroft sits with her timeless old hag expression. Kang Hwang and Kaiman are barely done celebrating when he drops the bomb. He's heading to the Resurrection Palace. Just like that, Yoon Young looks like he's been hit by a truck. Kaiman's instantly against it, and Kang Hwang can barely find words. It's drama hour at its peak. Jaewon tells them straight to quit with the pity faces. He's fine, and he knows what he's doing. Yoon Young steps forward, telling the master that people died fighting the Resurrection Palace's golden boy. For hope, for something real, for him. The Carpe Diem army isn't just a force now, it's a belief. And then he confesses, he hates Jaewon. Hates him for giving everyone something to believe in, because now they can never forget. They can't go back. And yet they need him. He better understand, all anyone wants is for him to stay. They're ready to fight just to keep him from walking away. But they've missed the point. Our hero never asked to be sacrificed. He's only announcing that he's no lamb for slaughter. If it wasn't clear before, now it is. He's not going to the Resurrection Palace with his tail between his legs. He's marching in to flip the place inside out, and that's the whole plan. Everyone stares. Isa and Jurgen? Sitting silent. Here we go again written all over their faces. The rest of the room freezes, struggling to process what they've just heard after the Carpe Diem bloodbath. Our boy lays it out, no more delays. They move now. Siren almost looks amused, like she's watching a free movie. He doesn't care about their reality's limits, and that's the trouble, because the others are still stuck inside them. Yet somehow they follow anyway. People start lining up to go with him, like they've waited 9 centuries for this moment. The mood pivots from tense to electric. He's reckless, but he's got the charisma that drags everyone into his madness. Then, out of nowhere, he drops another bomb. He's only taking 4. Chonghyo and Kaiman are the obvious picks. Then he throws in a wild card, Siren. Her face goes from amused observer to blindsided participant in a heartbeat. Pure comedy. Siren isn't buying any of it. She makes it clear she's not going. Everyone else is too busy arguing that 4 people can't pull this off to notice her protest. Jaewon keeps brushing them aside, insisting he, Chonghyo, Kaiman, and Siren are enough for the job. He wants the rest handling logistics and support. No matter how blunt she gets, ranting in her corner, he refuses to acknowledge her refusal. Isa Landcroft finally states the obvious. Will nuking the Resurrection Palace actually help chaos, or just unleash something even worse? No one really knows what keeps chaos together, and if the regime falls, countless factions might pop up out of the chaos and rip everything apart. Yoon Young cuts through the debate saying forget unity, burn the palace first and figure out the aftermath later. Most agree that destroying the narrow gate should be the main goal. The fortress master points out there are still ways into chaos, even if the gate gets closed off to the monarchs. Meanwhile, Chonghyo and Siren are mock-fighting like kids, oblivious to the apocalyptic stakes. Yoon Young, nearly losing it, can't believe monarchs might actually choose death just to return to Carpe Diem. Our boy raises the one question no one wants to face. What if this entire effort to crush the Resurrection Palace doesn't even affect the monarchs? He's not running from the possibility. He's ready for the worst. Just then, Siren's done playing around. She grabs him to make it clear she's not joining this madness. But our protagonist doesn't flinch. He's tuned out her refusals, because deep down, he knows he's got one ace she can't resist, the mystery behind the 8th gate of hell. Her curiosity is burning now. She has to know what Godfather Mulak left behind, and for that, she needs to be in. They strike a simple deal. She helps him, he shares the secrets of the 8th gate of hell. The 4 of them head straight to her workshop. Kaiman calls it a shrine. Dolls, posters, the whole I'm your idol display. Chung-hyo grumbles as he skims through the gear, muttering that fame ruins people. Siren snaps back that most of it was made by her godfather, Mulak, so if they don't like it, they can keep their picky hands and judgmental eyes off. She taps away at her hologram screen, ignoring the roasting. The workshop is supposed to be off limits, but the warp drive they need for the Resurrection Palace jump is stored here, so she has no choice. Chung-ho keeps tossing snark. He finds a tower labeled the 10 trillionth regressor, only to learn the reward is getting blessed by the Mare of Legends, which is her. He bursts out laughing. She insists she built it before she was even 1200, but that doesn't help her case. They keep poking around, dragging her pride through the mud. There's even something called the cultivator that, spoiler, doesn't cultivate. For the boys, it's comedy gold. For her, it's a humiliation circus. She thinks that even dancing butt naked wouldn't be half as bad as this roast disguised as a tour. But the truth is, Chung-hyo's nosiness isn't random. These guys were products once, sold and stuck like collectibles in the timeline. She gets it. Picking up one of her own figurines, the weight hits her. Each shiny little piece was a life. Trapped, frozen, sold. The guys can joke, because the alternative is treating her like a monster. They're forming opinions about the towers, trading comments, rotating her. Then one of them stops and points at a specific tower. She glances over and calls out its cheesy name, The World After the End. It isn't finished, though. She started it after her first meeting with Mulak and never got to show it to him. Standing there, she realizes she never thought of the products as people. She just built towers without thinking about their meaning. Maybe it's time to reconsider. Still, now's not the moment. They notice the portal in her lab, one leading straight to the Resurrection Palace. An uneasy feeling crawls up her spine, though she can't explain why. Maybe it's the same dread that made her godfather abandon everything at the end of the Abyss expedition. Flash forward, and suddenly the crew stands in a classy castle courtyard. It's stunning, but the admiration is cut short by guards yelling for people to line up, follow protocol, and stop acting like they own the place. Classic castle energy. Someone yawns mid-scene, bored with the degenerates lined up hoping for reincarnation. These fools don't get it. If they actually wanted a shot, they'd be after the fruit depository instead. Wasting half a year in line is madness. The man talking is none other than the 72nd Resurrection Palace Master, Fog Monarch Hichtmeyer. It's his third year holding the title. One of his people tries to defend the crowd, saying they just want to keep serving him. Hichtmeyer's over it. He chokes the air with fog, just to remind everyone who's in charge. We see why he's bitter. When a monarch resurrects, they serve until someone else takes the throne. No exceptions. He's itching for the next sucker so he can ditch this trash heap on Chaos's edge. He suddenly remembers Bang Sheonil, the Jade Mask Monarch, who got wrecked by an awakened down in Chaos. Taking out a Brigadier Monarch is impressive, but the rumor is they're planning to take down the Resurrection Palace itself. How do they expect to pull that off? Being Palace Master right now is nothing but a headache. Still, with the 9th Region monarchs having squeezed through the narrow gates, something huge has clearly shifted. Hichtmeyer wants to see it for himself, but let's face it, the title is only prestigious on paper. Meanwhile, the reincarnation queue is as mundane as it gets, until, crack, a wall splits open like it's been waiting centuries. It's an ambush. Chaos isn't knocking, it's breaking in. Suddenly, Hichtmeyer unleashes a wave of fog, total devastation. But the guy he's up against isn't your average Chaos commoner. He blocks the whole thing. Hichtmeyer wonders who has the guts to pull off a stunt like that. He sizes up the slick, wave-patterned blade in this man's hand, swings, and realizes his opponent is on par with him. Hichtmeyer manifests his weapon, blocking the blow. Is this the Fortress Master himself? He sees the water-style quirks and knows it's not, which only makes it worse. If this is just one of the Gorgon Fortress Master's lackeys and he's this strong, then hell's waiting. The man greets him. Long time no see. Looks like the finally revealed Kaiman knows the Resurrection Palace Master. But there's no time for business cards now. Kaiman's here for one thing, to settle the score. 900 years ago, Abyss expedition. History Hichtmeyer would rather forget, but Kaiman hasn't let a single detail go. Hichtmeyer doesn't waste a second. Out of nowhere, he vacuums the whole battlefield and launches an insane fog thrust attack. It's not just ridiculously strong, it blinds Kaiman too, cutting his vision to zero. The field is thick with fog. What's worse, Kaiman can't even sense the faintest trace of Hichtmeyer. For all his brutal tower training, his sensory skills are failing him. It's a setup for Doubt to sneak in and mess with his head. Meanwhile, our boy in the background isn't having any of that. Jae-hwan steps up, tells him flat out to drop the defeatist attitude and actually believe in his own strength for once. That's when Kaiman shuts his eyes. It clicks. Hichtmeyer's going to strike from above. Kaiman's ready for it. He swings, blocks, and lands a solid hit right in the ribs. The look on Hichtmeyer's face? Pure shock. He thought he was untouchable, invisible in all that fog. With things under control here, Jae-won decides it's time to press on, taking Siren with him. Their main objective? The Pleasure Palace, where the fruit and the narrow gates are hidden at the Resurrection Palace's top. The vibes coming off that place aren't good. Given the situation, Chung-hyo and Kaiman are left to hold off any lackey brigadier monarchs who might try to storm the Pleasure Palace. And storm in they do. Soon, two old-timers enter the scene, the Seven-Fear Monarch and the Firewheel Monarch. As the fog clears, a shadow steps forward. The Firewheel Monarch calls it out instantly. No need for stealth, since it's obviously Cheongheo. Sure enough, he steps out, wielding a giant staff and making it clear he's ready for business. The two monarchs, however, are unimpressed. They were expecting Jae-won himself. This? Just the divine physician playing soldier. Coming all the way to the Resurrection Palace without backup? To them, it's a death wish, and they seem eager to help make it happen. Cheongheo sizes up the situation fast. His first swing is dodged, and their weapons are anything but decorative. They warn him, brigadier generals are on the move, and soon the place will be crawling with powerhouses. Cheongheo doesn't blink. Instead, he locks in a shield, battle ready, and manifests a dragon. His message is clear, bring it on. We jump to the Pleasure Palace, and it's exactly what the name suggests. Monarchs lounging like they're on vacation, surrounded by beautiful women, each monarch being personally served in style. The whole scene is pure indulgence, as if nothing could possibly go wrong. But the timid monarch, Rika, who's more observant than bold, nervously points out that something outside is clearly brewing. Before chaos can fully break loose, Rika suggests they check it out. But who has time for that with all these chaos girls serving up pleasure? The second and fourth dragon monarchs just laugh, shrugging off the warning. They're too busy enjoying themselves to care about any outside threat. The third and fifth dragon monarchs are no different. Shameless, smug, and totally unconcerned with the looming disaster. To them, the only real danger is if the female monarch alliance back home finds out about their antics and delivers some royal consequences. But right now, that's tomorrow's problem. Chaos in their eyes is just a playground. The idea that anyone here might have a grudge? Not on their radar, even with the 900-year-old Abyss expedition beef hanging in the air. Rika pushes again, worried they should investigate. The dragon monarchs just wave him off, certain that even if there's trouble, the Resurrection Palace Master will handle it. The timid monarch tries one last time to speak up, but only gets mocked for his trouble. Rika's frustration is obvious. He knows he'll get no backup, so he decides to check things out himself. But before he can leave, the first dragon monarch shoots him a vicious glare, a look that says, "You're killing the vibe." The poor guy nearly panics, bolting off while the others return to their bubble of wine, women, and delusion. The first dragon monarch thinks they're untouchable, and the rest are right there with him, still mocking the nervous monarch from before. Suddenly, a candle flickers out. A beat later, Jae-won bams into the Pleasure Palace, siren at his side. The room freezes. In an instant, everyone realizes the raid on the Resurrection Palace isn't just a rumor anymore. Our protagonist doesn't even need to draw his blade right away. Just standing there, calm and unbothered in the middle of their hedonistic playground, is enough to rip the smugness off the monarchs' faces. The first dragon monarch recognizes him immediately, Gorgon Fortress Master, live and in person, and tries to play it off like Jae-won's walking into his own funeral. Nice try, but that's never been our boy's style. No negotiations, no fake politeness, just pure, unmistakable I'm here to end you energy. He's already mentally mapping out how to turn the entire room into a dragon monarch graveyard. You can feel the shift. The monarchs grasp exactly what's changed here. The bottom line is deafeningly clear. Chaos isn't their playground anymore. Siren's dream demon senses tingle, attack incoming. But before she can warn him, Jae-won is already moving, high speed, body slamming his way into the fray. One monarch tries to flip the momentum, planting a foot on a pillar and rebounding in for a counterstrike, but our guy meets it clean, turning defense into a punishing offense. Another monarch intercepts him with a swift arm swing. Suddenly the numbers game is obvious. The first dragon monarch makes a threat, boasting that Jae-won will pay for ruining their pleasure. He drops the word that shifts the mood from playful to predatory. This is execution time. The monarchs start circling, bouncing around our hero as if toying with him, treating it like a warm-up. Attacks blur, each one faster than the last, too quick for ordinary eyes to follow. At first he's unfazed, weaving through, countering with razor thrusts, keeping them at bay. But solid hits are elusive. His targets slip away or close in, keeping the pressure mounting with every exchange. It's like fighting shadows. No weight, just the tension building. One monarch pounces from above, going for a killer shot. Jae-won's been waiting for exactly that kind of opening. He drives a kick straight into the guy's ribs, the first real connection of the fight. Our hero is comfortable fighting multiple opponents, but a pack of dragon titans is another level. According to these bastards, raw strength isn't enough. Even major generals can't outmaneuver the dragon monarch's relentless combo. He understands that now. Facing each one individually is a losing game, so he opts for a change. He sends them all flying at once with a powerful thrust that shakes the entire palace. The boom is so loud it rocks the fighters battling outside. Cheongheo, hearing the chaos, thinks it's about time the kid started letting loose, though he still can't catch a break with brigadier monarchs piling on. Back in the Pleasure Palace, we zoom in on Jae-won's face. No smirk, just wide-eyed focus. That epic strike? Incredibly, all the dragon monarchs are still standing. The monarchs can't help themselves. They start mocking Jae-won like it's open mic night. They call it pathetic, laughing at his attempt, acting like he really believed that thrust could do anything. Even Siren, who knows just how tough our boy is, looks dumbfounded. These guys are on another tier entirely. That last thrust didn't just fail, it bounced off like he'd flicked a pebble at them. To the monarchs, it's straight up insulting that he'd even try. That's when the first dragon monarch loses his cool. He's done letting the kid pretend. Now it's time to show the difference between so-called chaos pests and real monarchs. Suddenly their aura surges. The dragon monarch title isn't just for show. A massive dragon forms out of pure technique, looming overhead, ready to erase everything. It dives for our protagonist, fast and furious. He narrowly dodges, a miracle really. Instantly, he counterattacks with a solid thrust, the kind that would drop any regular foe on any other day. But against that dragon, not even a scratch. The monarchs laugh harder. The fact that he even thought it might work is a bigger joke to them than the attack itself. Situations like this can be misleading though. He seems to be in over his head as the dragon opens its mouth, ready to blast him away. Jae-won doesn't dodge. He goes for a stab, taking the bad mouth breath head on. The monarch thinks he's finished. That blast is no joke, probably uncontainable by a single thrust. In the chaos and smoke, it looks like our guy should have stayed down. Bad move. But that's not how he rolls. The rubble becomes his cloak. He rises through the dust, revealed on the dragon's nose, striking again. The monarch is shocked, but still running his mouth, taunting that Jae-won's arrogance will be his downfall, and he'll never leave a mark. But our boy isn't here for the banter. He channels all his energy into one deadly stab. That's when the monarch realizes, this isn't a bluff. The attack is dangerous. He retaliates, pins Jae-won to the ground, spits more insults, then pulls back. For once, our hero's done listening to these royal windbags. He tells the monarch he talks too much and does what he does best. He shuts him up with a god-world thrust. Boom. The pleasure palace is no more. It's a post-apocalyptic ruin. Kaiman and Cheonghyo just stand there, watching the fallout. It's official. Following Jae-won is risky business. Sure, you could die, but at least you'll witness something legendary. That's Cheonghyo's take on it. Back amid the wreckage, the once massive dragon aura fades. Siren, ducked behind cover, pieces it together. Showing up with just 4 people? That wasn't reckless. It was calculated. He wasn't bluffing. Meanwhile, the first dragon monarch looks like he crawled out of a blender. Clothes shredded, ego in tatters, face full of disbelief. These monarchs have massive egos, and getting rocked like this is not something they're used to. The first dragon monarch is the only thing left standing. He spits a threat, swearing he'll come back and rip Jae-won to pieces. He tries to drop the narrow gate bomb, as if it'll scare him. But surprise, our protagonist already knows. No matter, the monarch clings to the idea that as long as their soul and body are bound, he can't actually kill them. That's their trump card. It's all mind games. As long as the soul-body link stays intact, worst-case scenario is the dragon monarchs poof, respawn back in their cushy bodies in the almighty land, and return for revenge. Then, out of nowhere, Jae-won swings. Just one frail-looking slash, and boom. The god link is gone. Not disrupted. Not tampered with. Completely severed. The monarch instantly freaks, like his entire existence just glitched. And Jae-won? No gloating. No speech. He just looks him dead in the eye and asks, cool as ice, if he's afraid to die now. Literal chills. The first dragon monarch looks absolutely wrecked. Physically, mentally, the works. Bro needs therapy after that. Every bit of his smug superiority, gone in a snap. The monarch starts spiraling, whispering like a man who's just glimpsed his own grave. For the first time in who knows how many centuries, the truth slams him. He doesn't want to freaking die. Panic takes over. He starts offering our boy everything. Titles, riches, power. He promises to pull strings, even offering to bring the pitch darkness monarch to the table. He swears he'll steer clear of chaos if that's what it takes. Everyone else just stands there, watching the once feared ruler crumble into desperation. It's almost pitiful. At his lowest, Jae-won ends it. One clean chop, no mercy. It's a spectacle. The timid monarch, just returning, freezes at the horror. The 5 god dragon monarch bullies are finished. 9 centuries of monarch dominance? Flattened in a flash. The timid monarch suddenly realizes he's next. He's about to get kicked by our protagonist and killed like a street dog. He turns to run and warn the major generals, but Cheonghyo catches him. And Cheonghyo for once looks utterly terrifying. Everyone regroups as Kaiman reports to Jae-won. Cheonghyo follows, dragging the scared monarch along. He reminds the team about our boy's order to bring the monarchs alive. Even though that nearly got them all killed, they somehow managed it. Then the question comes up, who's this rat Cheonghyo picked up? Siren recognizes him as the timid monarch, a joke to his peers. He made brigadier level, but nobody took him seriously. The weakest of the bunch. Time for business. Cheonghyo stresses again that Jae-won wanted these monarchs kept alive. They weren't told why, until now. He wants to truly end them by severing their brain link. Execution time? The timid monarch is practically losing control, begging to be spared from this death parade. Siren wonders aloud why Jae-won isn't treating this rat the same as the others. but our boy has a reason. In war, you leave certain witnesses behind to exaggerate your reputation for everyone else. Plus, odds are this guy will spill where the fruits are stashed. Sure enough, with a trembling finger, Rika points out the vault where the fruits are kept. But this isn't any ordinary vault. It was crafted by a mayor, and its passwords regenerate endlessly. Only an artisan-level mayor can crack it, and that means Siren. Finally, it's her time to shine. Before anyone can officially ask her for help, Jaewon is already attacking the vault, ignoring any plan. Chonghyo tells him to get a grip while Kaiman wonders aloud how they'll ever find a mayor. Siren yells that she's right here, but they ignore her, so she gets to work herself. These ingrates can thank her later. Suddenly, our protagonist notes that the vault feels looser than it was a moment ago, and, of course, they don't acknowledge Siren's efforts. Classic. It's a moment. The fruits the expedition company fought so hard to secure, finally within reach. Chonghyo nearly collapses under the weight of memories. I'm all grotesque. Everyone who gave so much. He drops to his knees. But once the emotion settles, it's clear there aren't many fruits left. Looking back, it's obvious. They were rationed over 900 years. The hard reality hits. They'd hoped to deliver life to all of chaos, but this barely covers a single group. Still, Kaiman is transfixed by the fruit's beauty, even knowing the mission fell short. Jaehwan sees it too. Kaiman is among the most deserving. He announces that Kaiman should take one. Kaiman looks shocked, never expecting this. Chonghyo adds his support. For a moment, Kaiman is speechless, wondering what he did to deserve this. Our boy tells him plain and simple, make your own choice. Jaehwan doesn't play the moral police with Kaiman. He simply tells him to make his own choice. All the weight, the centuries, the bloodshed, the endless grind with nothing to look forward to, comes crashing down on Kaiman. This isn't just about the tower, it's everything. The years, the pain, the sacrifice. When Kaiman stares at that fruit, he doesn't just see a reflection. It's like looking at a version of himself that still has hope. And even then, he doesn't hesitate. After all the carnage and all the pain behind chasing these mythical fruits, Kaiman just clenches his fist and crushes it. Chonghyo is speechless. The timid monarch looks ready to faint. Siren freezes. Even Jaewon, the unshakable veteran, can only stare, demanding to know what the hell Kaiman just did. But Kaiman didn't break. Something simply shifted inside when he took hold of the fruit. There are only 10 left now. A pitiful handful compared to what the fruits once represented. They're not symbols of hope anymore. They're the spark that will set off wars. In the current state of chaos, Kaiman's choice makes perfect sense. Everyone is fighting, so a few can feel alive. That's not salvation, it's just another power game. For the first time, Jaewon smiles. That took real courage. And Kaiman isn't done. He turns to our boy and asks if they should destroy the rest. Jaewon nods. Absolutely the right call. He already understood the risks, but a disillusioned outsider shouldn't be the one to make that decision. It had to come from chaos itself, and that's exactly why he chose Kaiman. Chonghyo still can't wrap his head around how wild this is. If anyone saw what they just did, the world would lose its mind and come crashing down on them. It takes serious fortitude to make a call like that under pressure. Jaewon never doubted Kaiman for a second. He knew this guy would even choose despair if it was the right thing to do. He just made a choice between anarchy and personal salvation. They ask Kaiman if he regrets it. He just laughs like regret isn't even in his vocabulary. Right in the middle of that prideful moment, Jaewon suddenly screams Kaiman's name in panic. Bang! Out of nowhere, a blinding flash of light. Chonghyo and the others freeze. In an instant, Kaiman's down in a crater, giving full Yamcha vibes. He could be dead. A voice cuts through the chaos, calling them all vermin. A feathered robe appears, revealing the full Storm Monarch. This is a level 10 adapter, a major monarch Kaniel. Chonghyo is panicking, trying to wake Kaiman, but before he can do anything, someone grabs his head and slams him into a wall. That's the Silence Monarch Megiddo, another 10th stage adapter who isn't holding anything back. Jaewon watches it all, and it shows on his face. As the feathered and clawed duo make it look like things can't get worse, another voice rings out, accusing the heroes of overstepping by taking on monarchs. The timid monarch instantly panics. He knows who this is. Samyung Garang, one of the top 5 major generals in all the almighty land. While the timid monarch has a meltdown, Samyung Garang casually tells Kanail and Megito that he'll be the one to take Jaehwan's head. No hesitation, Jaehwan orders Siren to get Kaiman and Chonghyo out before this turns into a massacre. The monarchs are amused. They tell the fortress master to worry about himself for once. In seconds, Megito's shadow dark arms crawl from the ground, wrapping around Jaehwan like he's being dragged to hell. Kanail dives in, but our hero manages to dodge even while restrained. As Jaehwan tries to catch his breath, Megito strikes with a nasty dust claw. Jaehwan barely blocks it with Doc Bull, but it's obvious. These guys are on a whole different level. Absolute monsters. Kanail attacks again, and Samyung Garang, watching Jaehwan on the defensive, is not impressed. The legends hyped up this fortress master, but he looks like another paper tiger. Jaehwan is already gasping, worn out, and before long, he's restrained by shadow arms all over again. They smirk, taunting if he's finished, since they're just getting started. Maybe it's time to end things. But that's their mistake. Everyone underestimates Jae-won at first. Even as the darkness coils tighter, he lifts his head and locks eyes with the monarchs in pure defiance. That glare isn't a threat. It's a guarantee. They're about to learn what happens when they push our protagonist too far. Let's rewind for a moment to when Jae-won shattered Montecore's legacy with a single, devastating thrust. Earlier, Jong-hyo had renamed the attack to World Thrust, but what wasn't shown to the public was his warning. Awakeners may seem to have limitless energy for attacks, but mentally, it's exhausting. By the time fatigue sets in, it's often too late. So if our protagonist keeps unleashing those thrusts, he's flirting with a mental breakdown. Back in the present, Jae-won reveals that these three opponents are just as formidable as when he first entered Chaos. If he hopes to survive, he must finish them quickly. With the Storm Monarch and the Silence Monarch about to clash, our boy doesn't hesitate. He breaks free from the shadow restraints, grabs Doc Bull, activates Moon Eye Unique World, and unleashes 5 relentless world thrusts in rapid succession. No pauses, no mercy, just pure destruction. The blade blazes like a comet, tearing through bone. Magito and Kanael are left shattered. Samyeong-garang stands there, his attire scorched away by the attack, while even the distant siren is forced back by the sheer force. It's only now that the monarch realizes this young contender might actually be worth his attention. A flashback unfolds. Years ago, a mayor sought out all 12 monarchs, only to be rejected by each one. His final destination was the 9th region, ruled by the Pitch Darkness monarch. There, the mayor asked Samyeong-garang for the strength to climb the Tree of Illusion. Samyeong was indifferent to such ambitions. Mulak, the mayor, appealed to nostalgia, speaking of never forgetting one's roots and recalling his own suffering and anger during weaker days. He insisted change was possible, denounced the world's corrupt values, and claimed that conquering the first nightmare was essential. Surrounded by orange flames, Samyeong laughed it off, believing the almighty land was all about power, not ideals. If Mulak truly wanted change, he would have to prove it. The two fought for 3 days and nights. On the third day, Samyeong, battered and pinned against the rock, finally acknowledged Mulak's determination. He saw that the mayor's relentlessness came from sheer will, not magic. Mulak pointed out that a monarch like Samyeong was still adapting, not yet awakened. In that moment, Mulak embodied real resolve, turning words into action. Samyeong relented, admitting that if anyone deserved to climb the Tree of Illusion, it was Mulak. From there, Mulak wandered Chaos, assembling the first Abyss expedition with the goal of overturning the world. But after the monarchs intervened and seized the fruits of his labor, he vanished. Nothing truly changed. Returning to the present, Samyeong sizes up Jae-won as he lunges for a precise stab. The boy's skills are impressive, anything but ordinary, but Samyeong warns that brute force alone won't be enough in this war. Raising his palm, the monarch summons a menacing aura and effortlessly blocks the attack. The message is clear. Our hero might possess the right tools, but he's wielding them with the recklessness of a novice. For the first time in a while, Jae-won takes a step back, recognizing that his opponent just shrugged off the onslaught as if it were nothing. Without warning, Samyeong's fist connects squarely with his face, sending Jae-won crashing into the wall like a cannonball. The pain is unmistakable. He's just been tossed aside with ease. Rising from his knees, our protagonist struggles to regain his footing as orange flames flicker across Samyeong's now nearly bare body. The monarch is done with warm-ups. He's no longer interested in theatrics. Almost tauntingly, Samyeong urges Jae-won not to give up too soon, challenging him to prove he's truly worthy of reaching the illusion tree. Our boy can't quite grasp how this opponent is tougher than the elites he defeated earlier. It's not as if Samyeong-garang is using flashy techniques. When our protagonist charges in for another thrust, Samyeong simply calls it reckless. With a deft move, he flips the blade and transforms it into a world thrust, slamming his fist into the sword's path as if parting the air itself. That's when it clicks. Samyeong's fists aren't ordinary. He delivers a world thrust just by clenching a punch at Jae-won, each strike carrying a force like the laws of nature, gravity with intent. But Samyeong doesn't stop there. He casually nullifies Jae-won's signature move as if it were nothing, and pounds him into the ground with brutal efficiency. Spirit attacks mean little to the monarch. The type of power our protagonist wields is simply not what the system recognizes. Samyeong's next words cut deeper. He claims awakened ones are so focused on destroying the system's world, they forget it belongs to someone else as a unique reality. His power isn't just spiritual, it's primal. He's not using the system, he is the source. Our hero tries to draw him into the Moon Eye world, but Samyeong brushes it off as uninspired, an unremarkable, unique world. He grabs Jae-won by the face and slams him down, leaving him sprawled and humiliated. In Samyeong's eyes, this doesn't resemble true awakening at all. With a conjured orb in hand, he prepares to end it then and there. At the last possible moment, Jae-won regains focus and raises Doc Bull in defense. The block holds, but his arms are scorched and shaking. He realizes quickly that the Moon Eye trick is useless here, and even his grip on Doc Bull is faltering. Samyeong watches with cold impatience, demanding that he stop relying on gimmicks and reveal his true power. the origin of the world. Suddenly a flashback. Our protagonist stands before the 8th gate of hell, witnessing what Mulak left behind, a record of the abyss itself. The walls are filled with countless inscriptions, laying out the unvarnished truth of awakening. There are 6 distinct stages. Finally, no hints or riddles, just the complete blueprint. Awakening begins with doubt, then understanding, and finally self-surrender. Jaehwan has already mastered these 3, which fall under the Fallen World category, but it doesn't end there. 3 more stages follow, not just as upgrades, but as the Genesis stages, meant for building something new. The first half dismantles the old, the latter half brings a new creation to life. The problem? Our boy has no idea what Genesis truly means, and it's where his progress stalls. Samyung, meanwhile, has run out of patience. He's no longer willing to watch Jaehwan fumble towards world-making. With just a glance, Samyung can tell that our protagonist doesn't even understand how to access his own world. So the monarch decides to take matters into his own hands. That's when Jaehwan notices a rock nearby. Behind it, Chonghyo, Kaiman, and Siren are hiding, trying to stay out of sight. Suddenly, Samyung targets them, intent on obliterating the group with a deadly thrust. There's a crucial difference here. Jaehwan and Samyung can talk of unique worlds and second chances, but his friends hiding behind the rock don't get any resets. This is their only world. Samyung fires off the attack, and while Siren braces for the end, Jaehwan leaps in to protect them, taking the blow himself. The damage is severe, but he shields his friends. That's when clarity begins to dawn, not as a sudden revelation, but as a gradual, undeniable awareness. He thinks of his only world, growing up with his parents, school days, watching Yunhwan die. These moments shaped him, even if they now blur together. Back then, he never questioned reality. Things were simply as they were, and that certainty upheld the system. Now, as he approaches Genesis, he finally understands. The missing piece isn't some artifact or secret, but conviction. Belief was once enough, but now he needs a conviction that surpasses even belief to begin this Genesis. Yet, he knows he's not there yet. The scattered personalities of his memories and the burdens he carries make it clear, current conviction alone isn't enough. Every version of himself, past and present, must stand behind this resolve. And time is running out. Samyung readies his fist for the final blow. However, it's Jaehwan's own past selves who become the true obstacle. They stare back at him, doubting. To them, this new world seems like a mirage. Having never lived it themselves, they see no reason to support him. They simply watch, judging. That's when our protagonist snaps. If his past selves can't stand with him now, then he's done waiting for their approval. Let them rot where they came from. He's moving forward, with or without them. Bam! Jaehwan's face smashes into a pillar. Radiating power, Samyung Gurung pummels him relentlessly, and it soon becomes clear that our hero isn't fighting back because he's completely spent. The voices of his past selves break through, warning that if he throws everything away out of sheer stubbornness, every version of him will perish. They remind him he's endured enough to be hardened by now, forged in the fires of his own hell. Even Samyung seems to feel a twinge of regret, realizing he's beating down someone already at their limit. With renewed determination, our boy opens his eyes, grips the handle of his sword, and rises to his feet. One by one, those past selves step forward, lending their support. The monarch instantly senses that something fundamental has changed. Our protagonist closes his eyes, taking a moment. Then, all at once, he snaps them open. Glass shatters everywhere from the surge of force. Samyung is stunned. From a distance, Siren recognizes what's happening. He's stepping into Genesis. The enormous eye from the Moon Eye unique world appears again, signaling that Jaehwan has entered the 4th stage. As the destruction ripples outward, it becomes clear. He now possesses the power to turn lies into truth and belief into reality. This is the 4th stage of awakening. Theory. The sight makes Samyung grin with manic delight. The irony that this unique world was designed to erase others isn't lost on him. It's almost poetic. But evolution doesn't mean the monarch will go easy. He attacks again with a signature dust-laden punch. This time, when Dokbul meets the blow, our protagonist holds firm. That's the moment Samyung's excitement spikes. It's as if he's facing Mulak from 1,000 years ago. The thrill-seeker laughs, thanking Jaehwan for the exhilarating battle. The tempo skyrockets as they exchange blows faster than the eye can follow. Still, beneath the energy and bravado, it's clear this fight can't last forever. Eventually, it will reach its end. The combatants spring back from the wreckage, then charge at each other with everything they have. Our hero lunges, eyes locked, driving his thrust forward. Samyung counters with his fist. When they collide, bam! An explosion erupts, shaking the battlefield. No matter how wild the chaos becomes, it's obvious the match isn't over yet. In the thick of battle, Jaehwan slips into introspection, questioning what he's truly lived and fought for. But amid the relentless dodges and attacks, he pushes those thoughts aside. No questions, no hesitation, just keep thrusting forward. As the fight drags on, fleeting images of his younger self appear, carefree, clueless, swinging Dokbul like a child at play. Samyung's laughter echoes through the ruins, and for the first time, a genuine smile forms on our boy's lips. Across the swirling dust, the gladiator has gone fully unhinged, laughing with the abandon of a beast, reveling in the chaos. Jae-hwan silently thanks him, recognizing Sam-young as the perfect adversary he's always needed. They crash into each other over and over, exchanging blow after blow. The monarch refuses to relent, hammering back with merciless strength. Their battle evolves into a wordless ritual. Two warriors locked in a moment neither wants to end. Our protagonist leaps back, daring the system to show if that's all it has. Sam-young counters with another crushing fist, playfully dismissing the challenge. During a brief pause, Jae-hwan thanks him aloud for finally giving him a worthy opponent after what feels like 1,000 years in chaos. He realizes he's not the only one who's wielded a weapon for centuries. The monarch has refined his power just as much. They trade a few words of respect before our hero brings up what's been weighing on his mind. Despite all his power, Sam-young is still an adapter, not an awakener. The question takes the monarch by surprise. Those were Mulek's words after all. Sam-young wonders what Jae-hwan truly seeks. Without hesitation, our protagonist declares his goal. He's going to dive to the abyss's depths and climb the illusion tree. The monarch can't help but recall Mulek, the one who nearly killed him 1,000 years ago. Jae-hwan's resolve is reminiscent of that stubborn mare, but if our boy thinks Sam-young is impressive, he knows nothing of what lurks in the abyss. Most monarchs never made it back. Suddenly, Sam-young's aura flares, power surging as he presses his palms together. The transformation is immediate. He ignites into his Black Gatekeeper general form, a madman reborn. He challenges Jae-hwan to prove he has the strength and willpower to face the abyss. Observing from afar, Siren remembers overhearing a gatekeeper demigod conversion, realizing now that calling himself the Major General was an understatement. In reality, Sam-young has long reached the rank of Lieutenant General, something he kept hidden. His body radiates a nuclear intensity, and as he raises one hand, a spear materializes in his grip. The monarch demands that Jae-hwan prove his world's worth. Someone devoted to the system might be able to summon a gatekeeper to defend it, but our protagonist has always known he was meant to shatter the system. That certainty fuels him as he channels everything into a single ferocious thrust. Facing the spear of the gatekeeper, Jae-hwan unleashes Dokbul at its most devastating. Sam-young wonders whether this attack can withstand the weight of hundreds of lives behind it. The monarch's grin fades as he recognizes the thrust carries Jae-hwan's entire existence. The blow tears straight through the black aura, obliterating what moments ago seemed unstoppable. Our hero sizes up the moment and strikes with unwavering resolve. Even Sam-young accepts it's the end. There's no time to dodge or counter. He meets it with a final nod, acknowledging the battle as one worth every second. Jae-hwan delivers the decisive strike. The barrier shatters, light rips through the sky, and it's finished. It was a battle neither will ever forget. Truly, it was fun while it lasted. There's no need for a spoiler, it worked. Samyung Garang is left utterly devastated, half his body torn apart, barely hanging on. Even so, he manages to ask if he truly lost. It's then he sees it, the moon eye, the force that observes and shapes everything. Clear as day, Samyung glimpses the illusion tree's peak, the place where the first nightmare awaits. He wonders if that's where Jae-won intends to lead everyone. But our boy's intention isn't to guide people there, it's to bring the whole thing down. The monarch understands. If this is the world Jae-won intends to create, it won't be some popular utopia. He wants to erase despair, but what he demands in return is extreme, a brutal truth few could endure. No one is built to withstand that level of madness. What he offers is a life so hard that people might wish for it to end. Ignorance really is bliss. Enough talk. Monarchs don't die like ordinary beings. Their final breaths aren't really the end, thanks to the brain link. It's time to sever that tie. Our protagonist asks if Samyung has any last words. The battered man speaks of the abyss, asking Jae-won to tell Kanark what happened and to watch out for Mylod. If that guy finds out about Jae-won's unique world, he won't let it go. That's all well and good, but our hero has a lingering question. He knows Samyung could have killed him before any of the World Genesis madness even started. So why didn't he finish the job when Jae-won was defenseless? The answer is unexpectedly noble. Samyung wanted to support another lunatic determined to climb the illusion tree. Even though Mulek's dream collapsed, Samyung believed the world needed normalcy and fundamental human values. He remembers Mulek and his ideals, convinced the world could change if the first nightmare fell. Ultimately, he never let go of Mulek's vision, despite having little faith in it. Everything he did was a way to repay that debt. With that, he accepts the end of the link, free of regret. Exactly 917 years and 244 days after Mulek's Abyss expedition went up in smoke, Chaos is finally free of the Resurrection Palace. As the focus shifts to Samyung, Jagal-myun and Jae-won agree he was a formidable monarch from the almighty land. Jagal knows plenty, given his own clan's downfall at the hands of the Samyung clan. The savants were exiled and replaced in the 5 great clans. Just like that, he gives Jae-won a warning. You took down one of theirs. Don't expect the rest to stay quiet. But the fortress master remains unfazed. He tells Jagal not to worry, his tone cool and edged with confidence, a sure sign that our protagonist now holds the narrow gate. He makes it clear, those guys can't step into chaos without dying. For now, things are under control. If any of them try to force their way back, he'll handle it personally. And if someone manages to slip through a loophole, they'll become his stress relief. Either way, he's not concerned. Jaegal stands there, stunned. He can't understand how Jae-won makes things happen. Everything about the way our boy operates seems backwards, yet it works. With that, our protagonist heads out, pausing by the window in his office. He grows reflective, realizing how long it's been since he first arrived in Gorgon. The journey has been intense. He's gone from outsider to fortress master, forging deep bonds along the way. A quick montage flashes through his mind. Mino, James, Jurgen Cheever, Claire, Mitchell, and others. Then, in a sitcom-worthy moment, Chung-hyo and Kaiman enter for drinks. As soon as they sit, the bickering begins. Both are awakeners and equals now. The old man is 1,200 years old. Kaiman a bit younger at 1,154. Their verbal sparring is something only immortals could perfect. It's moments like these that make life in Gorgon feel truly special. Yet beneath it all, a quiet longing tugs at him. Jae-won knows he has to move on. As attached as he is to this world and these people, chaos is just a chapter. Deep down, it's time to let go and outgrow it. We jump ahead to a later moment in the office. Rain pounds against the windows as Jae-won, dressed in a white shirt, sits quietly, lost in thought. Sir Carlton Javier talks beside him, launching into a discussion about seizing the day and the Tower of Nightmares, but our boy barely hears a word. The night has to repeat himself before it finally sinks in. The Nightmare Tower is becoming a death trap. The first floor alone is operating at 100 times normal intensity, and people are losing their lives trying to awaken. Carlton's concern is justified. Even our protagonist can see that things